Morning guys, going to talk about the NIEs and Padrons today. The first thing I want to say is the number of people wanting documents has increased significantly. This is partly because of the Brexit, and the other part is a lot of people are already here and simply haven't done it for a long period of times, and there's a bit of scaremongering going on in the media. But anyway, regardless, the numbers have increased. The process is slightly different from previous years in the sense that the online appointment system is now the main way of getting an appointment. It's called a cita previa, which is basically the online appointment. You do it through their website, you sign up on there, but don't expect to get an appointment for this week, next week, or maybe even in 6 weeks. It's a very busy schedule. On top of that, you can go to different offices if your office isn't available on that date, so there is some flexibility on that. Also means you can book it when you're in the UK and pre-plan. Next thing you need is the TASA form 790012, which is the payment form. It's currently €10.71 for the NIE fee. One of the things I do recommend is checking where you are, because sometimes this changes. Some areas are slightly different, so just double check on the cost, because when you get it wrong, they expect you to go and do it again, and there is no refund on this as far as I'm aware. You need to take along your passport and at least 2 copies. If you're copying 2, I recommend copying about 10. This little guy over here saved me a small fortune over the years, simply because of the amount of paperwork that's involved in Spain. It prints, scans, does everything. If you're here long term, I do recommend getting one. It just makes life so much easier. But take 2 along. I normally take about 3 or 4, because then if they want it for something else, it's there. It just makes life easier. Your current address in Spain. I know some of you guys are Airbnb, etc. I know some of you guys are still looking for where you're going to settle. They may accept it, they may not, but at the moment, they don't really push for you to have the Padron. They don't really push for you to prove that you're at that address. So just be aware that as long as you're giving some address at the moment, it's not really an issue. The other one is passport photos, minimum of 2. And like anything, if you're going to get 2 photos, you might as well have 4, because you're going to need them for other stuff later on anyway. So bear that in mind. Always better to have extra. And that's the NIE. The NIE is not something that's very complicated. It's fairly straightforward. They use it for the tax reference. That number stays with you for the rest of your life. So once it's set up, that's it. It's done and dusted. You will have to change the address and stuff from time to time, but don't worry about that. That's in the future. The other document you will use quite a lot is a Padron. Now, I was told that the Padron has changed in the sense that they don't have the expiry date on it anymore. I'm a bit like that on that. I'm not 100%. My wife will know more because she's done some recently again. But the point with the Padron is they did do a 3-month expiry, because they were finding that, like this area, the majority of people here are not here. On the Padron, if it was just like sign on once and forget about it, most of these are holiday homes. As such, it's got a ghost population in the majority. So the problem you get is schools, hospitals, bin services, and everything else is based on that budget, because it sees 100,000 people when in fact there's only about 30,000 people here. So they get excess budget, and this is why they made it expire every 3 months, to get some real figures, because they're getting their government overspent. But that's what the Padron's for. That's why it expires regularly. But you'll need it for getting a car, getting the kids into school, getting your medical SIP cards, and pretty much anything that involves some form of process, because it proves you're an electoral roll. It proves you live at a specific property. You'll need your original passport and a copy. As always, take extra copies. Your rental contract or proof of ownership of a property. Utility bills. Don't worry if they're not in your name. It's very common in Spain. I think they charge for changing names, or used to. So a lot of the bills, like this property, is in the owner's name. My last property, it was not in the owner's name, but the previous owner's name, because she hadn't even changed it in the last decade. Very common in Spain. Proof of rental is mainly the address they're after. Proof of rental payment, deposit slips. Not a difficult one, self-explanatory. So deposit slips. I mean, mine, it was those little payment books that you go and buy from the Chinese shop, and because, to be honest, the guy that was doing it, it wasn't being taxed or anything. There was no declaration on it when we had that property, so the documentation was a bit vague, and they found it acceptable because it had the information that a payment had occurred. And then the NIE number, they don't always ask for it, and to be honest, because of the delays on the NIE appointment, you may be able to get away with saying I can't get my NIE because the appointment's in 6 weeks time, I've already submitted all my documents or whatever, or I'm waiting for my NIE, because you normally go in and then they don't do it on the spot. You'll come back on a Friday or something to pick it up. Like I said, my wife deals with all that these days, but it's not complicated. Well, you may be able to talk to the Padron office. I find they're a lot more flexible than dealing with the police at the foreigner's office. So they may say, we will need your NIE number. You say it's already in process, but I've got an appointment, or I've already requested it. So the only problem is if you request it, say, well, I've already done it this week, they're going to deliver it on Friday, they'll say come back on Monday. So one of the things I would say is, I'm just waiting for the appointment. Can I do this for now because I need it for the kids to get to school, and not, and other documents I need to process. And they may let you away with it. But that's pretty much it. One of the important points, though, is do not worry in Spain that you cannot get it done today. It's not like the UK where people are having problems where they're told to submit documents by a specific date, and then they're having delays within the UK immigration system, and then they're penalising the people that can't process their paperwork because the immigration never sent it out on time in the first place. In Spain, they know the system isn't the most efficient. At the same time, they're not bothered. They'll just simply go, I mean, I've had it before where they've said, well, you should have done this 3 or 4 months ago, and that's when you go, I've been trying for 3 or 4 months, and they just go, because they know it and they want to complain at you. But that's the thing. You say, you've seen me 4 times already, and at that point, it's not just like and they forget about it. But to be honest, April's become very good at doing these. She's doing them on a regular basis, and the reason I'm doing this video is we've had an influx of people, and they've had different criteria. There's different reasons they're doing it. The appointments being delayed is something that we didn't have when we first moved out, which is why I'm doing a video update. Because before, you used to turn up at 7 in the morning, and you could get in there that day, get an appointment, and you're normally coming back that week or next week. But it's certainly 6 weeks away. But increase because of Brexit and other reasons, it's all increasing. It's getting busier. So A, give yourself plenty of time, but B, don't worry about it if you can't do it straight away. It's more of a hindrance in the sense if you want to buy a car and do this, you can't buy a car in the sense that you need your documents, you need the Padron, etc. to do that. You can't do the purchase. There is ways around the system, but I'm not getting into that. But doing everything by the book takes time. Thanks for watching.